We live, baby. You know what time it is. You guys in the chat room, share it, like it, share it away, baby. You know how it goes. Cardone's Race Corners coming to you live Monday Night Raw. I'll be right back. We're gonna get this going here in a few minutes. Guys in the room, Sam Neem's in the room, Sean Compton, Texas HO in the room, Carlos Rios in the room, MVP Productions in the room. What's going on, everybody? You know what today is? It's Monday Night Raw, and that only means one thing that's going on. That's Cardone's Race Corners in the house. I guys hope you guys had a great weekend. All you northern guys up there, I hope you guys are hanging tight, keeping warm. Us Florida boys had to deal with some rain all weekend, so you can have a little pity for us, you know, just a little pity. We had to deal with some rain. We weren't able to wear shorts and shirts, so whatever. Anyways, guys, what's going on? Once again, thanks for tuning in. As always, you guys are my #1 fans. You guys make this happen every week, and I want to say thank you to you guys. You know, we got some good things to talk about, and I'm just going to get this off my chest right now. No, I don't have Pro WaterCraft's freaking tour dates, all right? I don't have it. Stop messaging me. Stop hitting me up. I don't work for Pro WaterCraft. Right? I may announce, I may love this, you know what I'm saying? Can't do it. When I get the text, I'll give you guys the details. And when that text comes through, you guys will be the first to know. Till then, I don't know what's going on. Nathan Adam, thanks, man, for always tuning in. Across the pond, you guys make it happen. Anyway, so tonight we're going to talk about some cool stuff, man. We got some interesting things. We got Chris Hasget on the phone. It's going to be on the phone tonight with us. Pro WaterCraft Racing. You can't beat that. Low and mean. It's going to be very interesting. This will be one of my first interviews of someone I truly don't know on a one-on basis. So it's going to be interesting to check out what he has to say, what's going on, and let's get some information from him. We need to see if he can build us a sport boat. That's what we need. If you guys are in the chat room, you know the routine. Help me out. Share the page, like the page, make sure everybody knows what's going on. The more people see this, the more people are going to get involved with the PWC closed course racing. The more people that we can have that can race and know what's going on, that's what we want. That's the kind of building we need to do. Our goal is to keep moving forward in PWC closed course racing. So we need as many new blood and new people into the scene as we can. And also if you guys are in the chat room, hit me up with your messages, what you guys want to talk about, see what's going on. You know, as much as I can, I'll try to tune over and bring it into it. So as long as I can get going on, like Joe Lesniak's in Tampa Airport waiting on his flight to go north. That sucks, homie. You were in Tampa and you didn't even call me. You went all the way down there to the, what was the freaking thing they had going on, whatever it was. But you were in Tampa, Joe, and you didn't even call your boy to say what's up. That's a dirty shame. You see how the Northern Yankees do us Florida people? They show up and they don't even holler at people. So some things we're going to talk about. You know, obviously we have P1's got their schedule up. They had a to be announced schedule date, which was going to be September 7th and 8th, which is going to be Pensacola. Imagine that, guys. So the sprint racers, we're going to have 3 surf races for the sprint racers. And obviously you pro guys are going to have some surf races too. So now you're going to have your Daytona, which is going to be your opener, which is April 13th, which I can't wait for that one. That's going to be exciting. April 13th is going to be Daytona. That's a sprint race, which means sport guys are going to show up in ski class. That's surf. And then our next our next surf race will be Pensacola. And then we're going to wrap off their last stop, which will be Fort Lauderdale, which will be a sprint. So Fort Lauderdale will be October 26th and 27th. So their schedule goes like this. Daytona, April 13th is going to be Daytona. Kissimmee, St. Cloud, May 11th is going to be amateurs only. And then St. Pete, 15th, 16th will be in June. Obviously, the pros and amateurs. Michigan City will be August 3rd and 4th. That will be pro only. So you pro guys, you're gonna enjoy that Lake Michigan. That's gonna be some brutalness right there. Then we're gonna get back into the sunny Florida weather, Pensacola, September 7th and 8th, which will be also a sprint pro, and then we'll find out October 26th, 27th, which will be Fort Lauderdale. So that should be a very interesting year. 2019 for P1 looks like it's gonna be really, really good. So that'll be exciting. And then we're going to go to, we got a couple things coming up. I know you guys have been hearing about it. I know you guys are talking about it. You guys have seen me getting tagged in a couple of it, and I've mentioned it a couple times. If you guys were watching last year, I was talking about Florida-Bama. Florida-Bama race is going to be March 15th, 17th, which will be that will be the second race of March, because the first weekend of March, 1st through 3rd, is going to be Texas H2O, Lake Fairview, Orlando. To give you guys information on Texas H2O, that's Sean Compton coming all the way over here to Florida to bring in some racing. Florida Region 7 needs some nice region local races. We have a lot of racing, but we don't have some real good racing for all of us competing. Thank God we got Texas H2, Sean Compton. He's bringing it over. I just got a text saying that there was a new person. Let's see what he said. Jet Renewed just signed on, and Grills Restaurant sponsored $1,000 for a class. So there's another entry, and we're thinking about also adding enduro racing. I believe that's what it is. So all you guys like Carlos Rios, you know, you were talking about going there to race your runabout. You runabout guys, there's going to be an endurance race, and there will be a box stock runabout class, and runabout GP. So you guys rally them up. Miami Jet Ski Crew, bring it. Florida Ski Riders, bring it. I know there's some rec ride guys out there, but also I know there's some fast guys out there. This would be a time for you guys want to come check out what the closed course racing is all about. It's right here in Florida. You can't beat it. It's going to be in Orlando. We got free lunch on Saturday for us racers. It'll be awesome to be there. So I'm reading something. One of the guys was talking. Jason Frutal was saying September 13th, 15th, Pensacola, Florida will be hosting a motorcycle bike rally at Expo. That will be the following weekend of our racing, so that won't intrude anything. Anyways, back to the Texas H2O racing. Entry level for juniors will be $25. You can race one day. You'll still got full racing each day. You have Saturday and Sunday. It's 3 motos per day. It's a fun full event. It's well organized. Myself and Kev will be announcing. We got good people. They're going to be on the lines. We're going to have good course marshals. We're going to have good flag guys. We will have a tech. The tech guy will be there for all the sport guys, the runabout stock guys, ski class, and juniors. We will have the spark class and stuff like that also. Registration is open. Go to Texas H2O Racing and register. It's the best time to register right now. You get in there, get it done, get it locked in. We get to know how many people are going to be there. This should be a really good time to hang out and have a good time. So Texas H2O, Lake Fairview, Orlando, March 1st through 3rd. You can't beat that. And then follow up after that, March 13th. I believe it's March 13th through 17th. That will be Florida-Bama. Now, the Florida-Bama race is pretty awesome. It's on the Florida-Alabama line, obviously, but it's right in front of the Florida-Bama Lounge. If you guys aren't familiar with that, go check it out. Emerald Grand Prix on Facebook. They got all the information on there. That venue was really awesome. Florida-Bama bar and lounge rolled out the carpet for us last year. It was awesome. They set everything up. Great beach access. They gave us the parking lot to hang out and park. There's plenty of room all over the place there to do your thing. It'll be a well-organized race. I was there last year, and it was surf conditions was really pretty brutal, so it kind of made things a little rough, but we still had fun. If the surf conditions were really tight and really out of control, there wasn't too many people to hold, they did a rolling start. So Underhill and Don Dawson really have put together a really nice venue for us as racers. It's sported around to a racer environment. That's what it's for. It's designed for us to go out there and have a good time. It's not there to deep the pocket. It's not there to take your money and do whatever. It's there to have fun and promote an awesome venue. So you guys check it out, Grand Prix. It's pretty cool. The Emerald Grand Prix. Check it out. Florida-Bama line. You can't beat it. It's another Florida race. If you missed the 2 Florida races right off the rip here in March, you guys just need to take your jet skis and just toss them because you're boring. So there's a lot of stuff going. I will talk about We got Powerboat Nationals. You guys are seeing the Powerboat Nationals is really starting to take flight. Dan Buddington is really looking forward to getting a lot of the sport guys involved. They'll also incorporate a Spark class, which is going to be very interesting also. It's very organized, you come up, you show up, you're in your gear, you're in your thing, it's televised, you got your meet and greet people, sign autographs, this and that. They're about showcasing us racers. So you guys got to check that out. Check out Powerboat Nationals. Go check them out on their Facebook. Check out some of the videos. The Hayes brothers have been there. There's a lot of people who are hanging out on that. So going back to your guys' question, like Chris Galuto and Chad Livingston, there are 2 different days of racing. Yes, you can race Saturday or you can race Sunday. They are scored differently. I think that's how it rolls. I'll get you more information. I kind of caught me off guard on that one. When it works, Sean said that it was going to one event scored weekend 5 modes, 3 and 2, not scored 2 separate days. All right, so Chad did clear it up for me. It's a 5 moto, 3 and 2, not scored 2 separate days like a Mikey Young event. It's just how it works. It's three races on Saturday, 3 motos. It goes pretty quick. I've been to Orange, Texas when we did it. It was pretty exciting. It rolled in pretty fast. Chris, he pretty much answered your question right there for you guys. It's kind of like a slow going day today, man. This weather is like sucking, dude. It's raining all day. It's got my mojo all jacked up. It is what it is. I was gonna give you guys a shout out too. You guys, Moto Option, shopmotooption.com. Go check them out on their Facebook page and their online page. There's a lot of stuff on there you can check out for us racers. You can get custom shirts made, custom jerseys. As you guys seen, they're helping out the 239 race boat with the jerseys like last year, but we got something a little bit different. It's gonna change it up. If you guys go in there, you ever see anything you want, hit me up, holler at me. I got a discount promo code I can give you. I'll holler at you guys. I'll take care of it. So going into our show, we're gonna get Chris on here. I'm super excited to talk about this. As you guys are in the room, please hit me up. Let me know some questions because I'm gonna be going at this one kind of blind. But you know me, it's never a dull moment with the Cardone in the house. So my plan is to figure out, what got Pro WaterCraft Racing involved, what's Chris's background, what's he got going on, stuff like that. So it'll be pretty interesting to talk to him. Told him I'd give him a call here. Actually, I can give him a call here in a few minutes. So if you guys want to hang out for a few minutes, I will go ahead and get Chris on the phone, and we'll make this happen. All right, everybody. I got Chris on the phone. Chris, you there?
I am.
All right, man. Well, I just want to stay off the rip, man. Thanks for taking the time and coming on my show. I don't know you one-on-one, so I really appreciate the fact that you took the time out of your day. I know it's still early in the day over there on the other coast. You still got work going on, but I just want to say thank you, and my viewers want to say thank you also for taking the time and coming on here and shooting the shit with me.
Yeah, totally. I've seen a couple of your shows, and it's, I dig it. I like what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate it. I figured, like I've told everybody, I'm always doing Cardone live videos and stuff like that, so I figured, you know what? Why not do something for us racers? Because we don't get the attention we deserve, or the people that promote the business, or they do things to help move, industry-wise. Like for instance, you pro watercraft racing. You build Pro Force hulls and skis, and a lot of accessory stuff. Like for the blasters, you do tubbies, you got ride plates, sponsons, and stuff like that. So, that's
Yep.
one of the reasons why I want to get you on here, because I've had a bunch of racers, but I've never had someone that's actually involved in the sport, that's helping the sport. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, cool. I'm so too. I mean, obviously, I think our sport's completely underrated. There's some amazing athletes, and there's a lot of good equipment, and overall, like jet skis are fun. So, like, why wouldn't you want to do it? And I think more people should get into it. So here we go.
Exactly. Jet skiing is fun. Jet skis do get, I don't know, over on the other coast, but here in Florida, we usually get like a bad rap because a lot of people think they can just jump on a jet ski and drive it like a car, and they forget you need throttle, you need thrust to turn. So a lot of stupid things happen. But have you been noticing that they have a new thing going on with the National Rec Tour that's part of Pro WaterCraft, that they're actually getting a lot of rally events funded where about 100 to 200 people get together and they do a nice little ride and they all gather up. Have you been seeing that?
A little bit of it, yeah, and I think it's a great idea. I mean, not everyone wants to go race, and that's totally cool. Like let's get together, let's hang out, let's enjoy what we all have in common, and those rallies are exactly that. It's a great way for people to just collaborate, and the sport needs more of it.
Exactly. I was going to say, you answered two of my questions right off the rip, because I think the same thing you were thinking. We need the sport to grow, whether it's rec riding or it's racing. But the racing needs new blood, or the racing won't keep going forward. So hopefully with the rec ride, that definitely is going to bring a lot of people that might spark their interest and see about getting into it. So, question to you is, what's your background? Because I don't know you on a very first-hand base. I don't really know much. I've been following your page for a while since I got into jet ski racing. When I first went to Havasu, I seen your guys' booth and seen some of the skis and things you guys do. So give me a little, school me a little bit on who you are and what brought you to the sport.
Well, it's, my family's always been into it. In fact, my mom and dad were at the first dealer meeting for Kawasaki in '73 in the Bahamas. And so ever since then, we've had jet skis in the garage or the backyard, and kind of when the older I got, the more I got into it. And of course, when I had friends that were into it, it just kind of snowballed for me. I immediately fell in love with it. And so it was, right at that point, like racing was huge, right? It was in the 90s, and there was tons of competition, and there was a lot of iconic names, kind of developing their own, and I wanted to be one of them. And so I grew up in Texas. I was born in California, but I grew up in Region 5, and so the Houston area, we would moto and ride a lot. And I eventually grew my way into moving to Havasu. And once I came here, doors started opening up for me, and I got hooked up with Yamaha, so I was able to work. Actually, lived with the general manager for the R&D facility for Yamaha, and then kind of progressed from there. And I worked with the Kawasaki guys, because Yamaha, Kawasaki, and even Polaris were all in Havasu at that time. And so my story kind of really took off when I got with Kawasaki, and they liked my approach to things and just how I was all in. I definitely didn't, let's say, half-ass things,
Right. It's so, all or nothing.
It's like everything I did, either from racing or ram jump, I was just always wide open at things. And so I took my work ethics and my racing attitude, and they gave me a job, and I got to work in the R&D division starting kind of in '97. And so I was with Kawasaki for almost 8 years, and got to develop a lot of different watercraft, like the 800 SXR and the STX hulls, and
that's when those hulls really starting to take off, especially STX. The triples; those things were really dominating the class for a little while.
Yep, yeah. It was fun. I got a really good education as far as how to develop and the approach to testing, and all that stuff kind of led into the next chapter of my life. And I got an opportunity to be a part of Hydrospace in the beginning. I was basically like the second employee, and I flew over there for like a year, and I got to build the S4, which is their first model, first kind of 750 4-stroke with a turbo and a stand-up. And so that was like a lot of fun, and once I was done there, I came back and got married to the love of my life. Well, she's sitting right in front of me, so I'm going to say that. But she is. She's awesome. We had kids. We grew a family, and
Right.
I wanted to enjoy Body Beach, and so we moved back to Havasu. And I just kind of, decided what am I going to do, and while I was kind of, it's a long story, and I hope I'm not boring you guys,
No.
but basically while I was kind of in the transition from one job to another, I had sort of like a motorcycle business going.
Right.
And it was like kind of accessorizing the cruiser style motorcycles, mostly the metrics. So then when I worked at Cowie, I bought a bike and
Right.
just fell in love with customizing and designing things. And that sort of took off. It never really died off. And so I chased Low and Mean for a few years and built that company. And it did pretty well. We kind of grew from my garage into a facility with several employees, and then I had the Low and Mean thing was great. It was kind of running itself, but my love was watercraft, right?
You got that itch.
It is. I couldn't let it go, right? I'm watching Bullet. They're making hulls, and I wanted to make stuff, and I started working on kind of ride plates and different little things, and
right.
And kind of building up sort of, where I wanted to go with my second business, which ended up being Pro WaterCraft.
Awesome.
So I started growing Pro WaterCraft, and I came across a really unique material, and it offered so many different things. We were making fiberglass ride plate
Right.
and different items out of fiberglass because I had the fiberglass shop from the motorcycle biz.
Right.
And we came up with stuff called Hybrid Flex Composite,
Right.
and it's been awesome. I took a ride plate that took me 3 hours, and now I can make it in 13 minutes.
Jeez.
With that, I was able to offer a better price point. The material was strong. It handled better.
Right.
And so that sort of sparked into so many other aspects of what else can I make,
Right.
And so we just started kind of designing and riding different jet skis and X2s and
Right.
blasters and
Right.
just building stuff, So it's kind of how the company evolved. I couldn't let go of the watercraft, and so now it's I think we have like 60 or so different products that we manufacture out of the Hybrid Flex Composite.
Right. I actually had the opportunity to have one of your ride plates for my blaster when I first got into blaster riding, and it actually is a great material. It's lightweight, it's durable. It flexes a little bit, so when you're in heavy terrain in the water and stuff like that, it actually can curl with it instead of being stiff and changing the dynamic of the hull. So it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So what got you into designing hulls? Like, obviously, what started that?
Well, I mean, I watching like everyone else kind of do it, and it was always kind of from almost day one. I'd always wanted to make my own ski. Like I always was like kind of modifying my hull and trying to make things a little bit better and learning. But I just the whole project like started 5 years before I unveiled it in 2015.
Right.
But it was always like a side burner thing, and I didn't want to copy anything, right? I didn't want to replicate the SXR, and I didn't want, I wasn't going to start someone else's bottom. I just wanted to kind of create my own complete ski from the ground up, and I really kind of tackled it and approached the ski in every little inch, like what do we do in this part of the ski, and how can we make it better, and I kind of like worked from there, and I picked certain aspects from the Hydrospace that I really liked, like the Hannaful pivot and the lock and how the hood attaches onto the ski.
Right.
So I kind of borrowed one thing from there, and then from there everything else is completely fresh. And we made a 7-gallon center fuel tank, which is pretty awesome. And then an inner hull exhaust, and just a really lightweight, fast ski. And for my first watercraft, I'm stoked. It was a very successful ski. It won 3 world championships. And I don't think the other guys could say the same, but it's definitely like something I'm super proud of,
Well, I mean, definitely the one thing you can say about your ski, your stand-up is it's its own caliper of a ski. It has its own look. It has its own style. It has its own unique handling. Some people say they can do it. Some people say they can't. It's all about how you approach it. Because a lot of people, And we can say this too, because you probably agree the same thing. As jet ski racers, we have our own mindset. We're so used to one thing that when we go on to something else and try it, we've already blocked ourselves from actually experiencing the true power or genuinity of what it is. So I haven't rode one of the Pro Forces yet. I've been around them. I see a lot of people have them. You know, I've never had the courage to ask, hey, can I ride your ski? Because that's kind of like, it's a whole different level of a ski to get onto. You know, I'm not at that caliber to even attempt to say, hey, I can ride that. Don't get me wrong, I can ride a lot of stuff, but those are pretty phenomenal boats. You know, those are things that are out there doing what they're supposed to do, and they're creating the new wave. You know, you're bringing innovation to the world. And like you said, the first thing you said is, I don't want to copy someone else's stuff. I don't want to have a piece of that boat so someone can say, oh, well, you took off that, or you used that idea and you just kind of manipulated it. So it's really good to see the ingenuity that you had that mindset and you told yourself, I want to make my own mark in the PWC. And I want to give congrats, because that is pretty phenomenal. Because a lot of people say that they can't say they've done that. You know, so go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that the sport deserves that. You know, like, we've kind of been seeing the same thing repeated over and over, and I didn't want to do that. You know, even if it financially would kill me, or physically or mentally, you know, kind of wear me down. I had to bring something that was fresh, that hasn't been done, to give our sport something that they had never had before. And that really is sometimes my motivation, you know.
And I like it because that's what we need. We need to get out of that. Like you always hear me say, I always say, we need to get out of that nostalgic era. We're in the 21st century. We need to move forward with the PWC closed course. We're not in that old era. Trust me, I would love to have that 90s era again, you know, that retro racing that was hardcore. Because I remember watching it when I was in Fort Myers. I lived in Fort Myers, and Lani Kai Beach was the area where all the racing used to come, and it was phenomenal out there. So one of the questions I was going to ask this too, but one of the questions was, if you know Kev, he was wanting to know, how did you develop the Blaster and X2 front sponsons? What made that pop in your head to come up with that? Because a lot of people love that mod. It's one of their favorite mods in the Blasters and X2s.
Yeah, that was quite interesting. That sponson kind of led from a few different things, but you know, I always try to do kind of a little bit of hydrodynamics simulation in my head when I'm riding, you know?
Right.
And so what I've seen a lot of times when I'm rolling into a turn is that it takes time for water to travel up the side and actually hit the bond flange. And so the bond flange is clearly, like, it's a good 40% of the handling characteristics of the ski. And so definitely on those two models, the X2, the older X2, and the Blaster, they have really tall sidewalls, you know? And so I started playing with it with a friend's X2, Jackson Rod. He pounces into your show. Him and I built something. And I also built one for my brother's Blaster. In the first year sports spec, my little brother went out and won sports spec at the World Finals on these sponsons. And so since then, I was always developing it.
Right.
And so basically trying to continue the bond flange from the back of the ski forward. So usually those skis, the bond flange kind of curls up. And that's great for, like, rough water and when the hull dips into the water, but flat water and in other situations, you know, you kind of need some sort of, like, lip or edge there to stop the water, to give you some stability on the side of the jet ski.
Right. Well, that's pretty cool. Like, I've seen it. It was the most crazy thing I ever seen when I seen someone when they had it in their hall. I was like, man, what is that? 'Cause I didn't ever have those kind of mods. I ended up going to an HX, and I was going to tell you, when are you going to start adding some mods for some HXs? I mean, everybody hates HXs, but we still need some love too every once in a while.
Yeah. I'm actually working on some HX rear sponsons right now. Brett Underhill is out here with me.
I was getting ready to say, you just got a new apprentice over there.
Yep, totally. He's a good kid, and he works hard, and I'm not cutting him any slack whatsoever. You know, I mean, he's earning his keep, and so we got talked into making some by Trey St. John, and he sent me something to work from, and we've been modifying it, and so I'm thinking in the next month we're going to have our first set of rear sponsons.
Well, I mean, if you had someone to reach out that you want to put it through a test, the 239 Race Bow is always down to rock something new.
There we go. Let's do it.
My question to you is this. Dude, everybody's been blowing my phone up. Everybody's been messaging me. Everybody's been digging at me about this because, you know, I got a lot of people that tune into the show. After the show, a lot of people watch it. And one of the things everybody says is this. you're all about stand-up class. Do you ever think you're going to build a sport boat? I'm just going to ask it. I didn't, they're pushing me to it, so I asked it.
Well, absolutely.
Oh.
I almost started one. In fact, I have a concept already, but there's a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline right now in our industry, and it kind of made me put the brakes on my project.
Okay.
But I totally want to build a sport boat. Like the sport boat for me is not. I don't consider it like a sit down. It's more of like a stand up with a fixed steer kind of thing.
Right.
And so our stand-ups are so fast now that you have to be like really in shape to be able to enjoy like a 5-lap or 10-lap little moto by yourself.
Right,
if you're stock boat, you can do it, but we want the power. But the stand-up really is, I'm getting up into my 40s. I'm not 20 years old anymore, so I ain't like
it wears you out.
It like the young kids.
It wears you out.
It does, and so the sport class fills that gap, and that's why it's been so popular. I talk to guys like Scotty Mack and Casey Malden and Tim Judge, and I get it. Those guys understand that class, and they totally like. There's an aspect to the sports ski that you don't get from a runabout and you don't get from a stand-up, and I think I hate that we're still looking at 30-year-old equipment. I'm really pushing the rules to open up a little bit, because I'm not going to go copy a Blaster or an HX and just offer a different hull, right?
Right.
I want a badass dynamic ride that you've never felt before, and I think it's going to come. I think we're going to see something in the next couple of years.
Well, I mean, definitely, as long as I'm still around, and hopefully I'll still be doing this show in a couple of years. When you get to that point,
you better be.
Yeah, hey, listen, I'm trying to, because if I stop doing it, there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be beating me up every time I show up to a race. So the fans keep me moving, the people keep me going. So we're not even in race season yet. Once racing starts, I feel like the show is really gonna blow up. We got 60 people right now tuning in, listening to me and you chit chat about stuff that we enjoy and we love, and they're all sitting there watching and talking about the same thing also. So I'm hoping to do it. But to refinish what I was saying is, when you get to that point and you want to announce something, you hit me up. I'll definitely be the guy to holler at you for you, make it happen on the show.
Yeah, cool. I'm excited. I can't wait, because I want to rip around on it too. So,
Dude, John, you're talking about 30...
I don't think you'll.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I don't think you'll ever see me like really on a sit down unless it's a SC, Spine Crusher or Super Chicken, because I got one of those. But a sports ski for sure. It just fills the void that I'm going to want in the future,
Well, it's like this, you might be familiar with the name Mike Osborne. He rocks a Bullet with a TJ motor, and everybody, like you just said, sport racing has been the class that you can still race, you can still enjoy, and a lot of people go from the Blaster, and some go to the HX, and a lot of people are giving a lot of crap because, we are an HX rider now, you're basically a mini runabout rider. But when you get in your when you get to that point where you want to keep racing, but your body can't let you stand for 10 minutes on a Blaster or 10 laps or whatever it is, that's a hard beating. And the stand-up guys, there's a lot of stand-up guys I know out there that they just can't take that constant abuse, so they do step down and go into the sport class and race and have a good time. And a lot of people that can't handle the Blaster anymore do join up to the HX, because you're able to still race, still be competitive, and still be involved in the sport. And a lot of people need to open their mind and think, it's not that I don't want to race, or it's not that I can't race. It's just I want to be a part of it still, and I have to find whatever way I can. A lot of runabout racing nowadays, them guys are taking corners at 70, 80 miles an hour. Listen, that's a lot of work, bro. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing we got to really think about as a community is we got to keep it cost effective for the guys that want to come in and enjoy that class and not like break their bank, right? Because we all know that we're going to break the bank regardless, but we don't want to do it like on the first few maybe races to some of these new guys, right? We don't want to scare them off right away.
Right, exactly.
Get the hook and sink in really good, and then keep them around for years.
Well, and then also, like I tell a lot of people, there's a lot of guys that really, on some, you've probably seen it too, a lot of the Facebook bashing, there's a lot of people just, one person will say something, then you get like 20 comments of this negativity. And I tell everybody all the time, like, listen, as the sport grows, there's a lot of social network does a lot of work. Just like this, look at the show. You have to look out for the negativity, because let's say Joe Schmo is looking at all these talks and he's like, I got a boat, maybe I'll go race. And you got like 10 people saying that boat's junk, don't do this, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. First thing he's going to say is, man, screw racing, I'm just going to do the weekend warrior stuff. And that's not what we want, because the closed course community, and you know this, is very welcoming, very open arms. Well, at least in my life, I've enjoyed it, because a lot of people have been there to help us out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of good people in the sport, you know, and it's awesome to see. You go to a race and you hardly ever get any like weirdness, you know, or uncomfortable kind of meeting someone new or any of that. But at the same time, like I said, the sport's completely underrated, you know, like there's not as much respect for some of these guys that put in money and effort and travel and all that they should for such a cool sport. And I'm not exactly sure what the scenario is, why we're in the place we're at, but we do know, like, when someone new comes, we need to have open arms, help them out, make things easy for them to understand. And once they're hooked, they're here for life. You know, that's kind of how I got here.
Right? Heck yeah, dude. So, you know, what is your thoughts with the growth of the sport? Do you think we're growing forward, or do you think we've kind of like steadied out, or do you think there's actually 2019 and 2020, a lot of things are going to change? What do you think is going to happen?
It's hard to really say, you know. I mean, we now have 4 organizations, you know, and I think it's more than we have riders, let's say, you know.
It kind of splits
I think
it
that
up.
makes things kind of, it is, because it makes the rules complicated on the racing end of things. So that's not like quite ideal. And I know that everyone has their angle and they have their idea of what the sport should be. You know, I want to feel optimistic. You know, sales have been good, you know, since we've got going. And I think really what it comes down to, and I think this is a clear indication of like the sport class. You know, the sport class really has not changed much in the last, let's say, 10 years, right?
10 years, right.
People are in that class because it's fun, it's affordable. And I think we need to think a lot about what is the formula with why people stay and put so much time and energy into certain classes. You know, we know runabout class, the guys come in with big money. They want to race. They want to make sure that they're the fastest, and they'll spend money to do that.
Right.
You get into the sport and ski class, they're a little more of like on a budget. You know, they're a little more minded on their cash. They still put money into it, right? But they're a little more athletic. Right. And so we need to think about who our customer is, how do we cater to it, and kind of grow the sport in those directions. And, you know, everyone will say, oh, the IGSDA is dying, or this is dying, or this and that. Everyone has their own opinion on things. And to be honest with you, like, I think there's a lot of cool equipment coming down the pipelines, stuff I've seen and stuff that I know that is possibly coming. And I think this alone adds some kind of motivation to just buy something and go race, or just enjoy it at the lake. So that makes me feel optimistic about where we're going in the sport, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, then Yamaha came out with the EX against the Sea-Doo, you know, the Spark. And then everybody bought the EX. It seemed like the EX was doing really good. And then they came out with their, just like they did with the Blaster, they came out with a new model that was designed for racing, the EXR. You know, I'm super excited to see that EXR come into this. I'm kind of frustrated with the fact that they didn't incorporate that EXR allowed into the same class with the Spark and the EX, because I felt like the Spark, they could have gave them some more options to do to their boats. And the EX, they could have kept it a little bit more limited, or raised up a little bit more, so that EX, the EXR, and the Spark could still race against each other and still have fun. Because how many people you knew that went out and bought that EXR because they were ready to race this year, and now they're not even going to be in that class? Or how many Spark people that still have Sparks and want to race, they felt like, hey, if they would just modify the rules a little more, let the Spark have a little more edge, you know, that class would have been phenomenal itself. So there's a lot of opportunities for the sport to keep growing, but there's a lot of like roadblocks that seem to stop it from really progressing into something that could be, you know, how many people you know enough people that probably did the exact same I said, went out and bought an EX because they're ready to race something new and have some fun, right?
Well, you know, to be honest with you, I don't know a lot of runabout riders or racers.
Right.
You know, I know some, of course, some of the iconic names and such, but I get what you're saying. You know, like what it comes down to, you need to have availability, right? You're going to get new people in the sport, and needs to be in the dealership.
Right.
So we're kind of in a transition right now. It's kind of difficult to build a watercraft, and the F-1500 is kind of a perfect example, right? So the manufacturers are looking at our numbers, and they're saying, you know, we can't develop a brand new motor that actually we want to fit into the right size hulls. We're going to have to use existing parts, because the technology we have right now really is going to fit into this massive big ski.
Right.
And so what I'm getting at is basically we're kind of in a part of evolution in our sport where our technology of engines aren't quite where we want to be, like power to weight, like it was with like the Superjet and like the 800 SXR, you know? So once we get past this kind of little dip in our technology, a lot of different skis are going to be coming out, right? So if we can kind of be in the right power to weight ratio and build the right kind of watercraft that people can buy in the dealerships, you're going to see a swing of different types of people, and the sport's going to evolve in different ways. And we're kind of like in the beginning era of this development, what's coming. So, and that's why I say, like a couple of years from now, you're going to see things kind of change and different types of watercraft come out. And I think a lot of them will be able to compete. So I hope it's kind of a long-winded answer, but to kind of understand the sport, you got to understand what we're riding and how we're really enjoying it. You know,
and you know what? I'm mechanically inclined. You know, that's what I do for a trade. Is I work on automotive, but the fact that you said that the way you said it really made it think, because you're right. The reality is the technology is at a point where the two don't mesh well. That's why the SXR 1500 came out. It made a lot of people make fun of it. It's a big boat, but in the fact that they shoved a 1500 cylinder 4-stroke in there. You couldn't shove that in a Superjet or an SXR 800. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work. Gary Hopkins shoved one of those motors in an HX. You know, we'll give him credit all day long. But the reality is, we're not making brand new HXs. You know, so Kawasaki kind of stepped outside the box and said, "This is what we have. This is what we're going to work with. Let's see if it'll happen." So, I like where you went with that, because it kind of made me open my eyes and see it in a different aspect, and kind of made sense. So, I want to say thanks on that one. Schooled me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and I think once we get into like the electric era of things, I think we're going to be able to improve on that. Obviously, battery technology needs to come a little bit further, but I think once we see that, we're going to see power to weight in a different kind of aspect. You know, then you know, the 1500 engine is 200 pounds, and then the hull is like almost 300 pounds. You know, and then you know you got almost a 600 pound ski. So like it's too heavy, right? We love the power, but we hate the weight. You know, and that's really where. That's where I'm taking like components from that ski, and we're able to build a ski that's going to be into the 360s. We're going to be lighter than an 800 SXR with a 1500 engine.
Whoa, really?
So, yeah, we have a full infused carbon fiber ski that we're selling, and every component from the Kawasaki 1500 is going to be able to bolt in.
That's all, and that's that new 2.0 that I just saw a video you guys were posting up, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, so that is our development ski, the ski we unveiled at the World Finals. And so we've been working on it nonstop. You know, we put a lot of cool things on it, like dual exhausts, and we listen to our customers about our feedback as what they want out of the handling. And we've been working on not just hand lamination carbon fiber, but infused vacuum bag carbon fiber that a lot of the freeride and freestyle guys do. And so this process is allowing us to create a ski that is going to feel like a Superjet as far as power to weight. It's awesome, actually.
Yeah,
super rad.
Well, you know, I was going to say, because you're talking about the infused carbon fiber lane, because I've looked at the freestyle halls many times and said, man, imagine if somebody would take that design and kind of made it into a race boat. You know, I know there's a couple guys out there doing some cool stuff, but you know, you've actually taken something out of another sport and made it happen with a racing sport. So it's really phenomenal to see that. I like seeing your boats on the water. They're really, like I said, they're very unique and they're very characteristics, and it's very phenomenal. I like what you're doing to the sport, man. I'm really stoked to see what you guys are, like you said, you're going to be doing some sponsors for HX, and you got some more stuff coming in to work. So, you know me, I'm always going to be tuning in and sharing your stuff. I'm always excited. I like innovation. I'm the guy that I like to see. You know, I race a 30-year-old boat, but I like to make it look like it's brand new. We like to keep them That's one thing about the sport class. We all like to keep our stuff alive and enjoy it. So innovation is what keeps the sport alive.
I think so. I mean, if we're all still riding 550s, you know, where's the exciting part, you know? Like, it's got to evolve a little bit. And unfortunately, evolution kind of sometimes bums people out, because you may have a lot of invested in where you're at, but, you know, we kind of have to think about the sport and not about how many cylinders you have of this in your garage, you know? And
the
we don't
hoarders,
want to push anybody away.
Yeah,
we don't want anybody to leave, you know, like we want them to kind of just get it and go with the flow. And so there's a delicate balance there, you know, because I've seen I personally have seen like a lot of people leave the sport just frustrated over rules and a new ski comes out and then it just pisses them off. And they're good people and they put a lot of value into the sport. And, you know, that's not what we want, you know? So.
And you're right, that does hurt because there's a lot of people, well, like you said before, we're split against a bunch of sanctioning bodies, and it really puts a tarnish on, because really the reality is this, and you can agree with me too, because you probably see on the forums, or you're probably too busy, you don't really pay attention too much of the drama, which I'll give you credit if you don't, because you don't want to get sucked into it. But the reality is this, as many times as people take the time to gripe and complain and bitch and say this and say that, screw that promoter, screw that promoter, screw this promoter, I'm not doing this, and they rally all these people, the only thing they're doing is they're hurting the sport. They're hurting the lines by convincing other people to say the screw this, screw that, when really, if we would just swallow our prides and just give it a chance and start showing up on the lines and racing again, racing would be fun again. You know, there's, like you said, there's a lot of people that quit because it's like just stupid stuff, and they're really iconic people that could really do a lot for the sport still. Bring new young blood, inspire new young blood, inspire the ones that are already in it to do better, you know? So it's frustrating to see something. I've only been in the sport for so long, but I've seen so much, you know, between, I'm really friends with a lot of OG people, so that I hear all the old stories, and I'm friends with a lot of young people, and I hear their new stories. So there's a lot more to it than what people truly think, and it's saddening to see the negativity just tarnish the good parts of it.
Yeah, I think it's, for some reason, it's really easy to forget, which is surprising to me, but it's really easy to forget that we're riding jet ski, right? Like,
yes,
let's reset a little.
Yeah.
You know, we're riding jet skis, let's try not to complain, and there's probably people on the other side of the world right now starving and wish they had, like, a hot dog, you know, and you're out there complaining about jet ski.
You're right.
You know, so let's
figure
out how to make this work, all right, people, you know? So it's just not that hard. I mean, when it comes down to it, yeah, you know, I can get upset, I can get wrapped up in the drama. You know, I got investment, and I got people that rely on me, and so I can get upset when maybe something doesn't pass tech, or if someone's calling me out on something, you know. But when it comes down to it, dude, I get to ride and build jet skis for a living, and I'm pretty grateful.
Right, exactly. You know, point taken, brother. Point taken. Another school lesson on the Cardone by Chris, man. Dang, you coming on my show to school me tonight, bro.
Oh, man, it's not about schooling. It's just about, you know, when you get two people that are really passionate about what they're into, like nothing but good comes out of it, right?
Exactly. That is true. Point taken. A lot of people watching, they're probably just sitting there saying the same thing, having a drink, saying, you know what? That Cardone, Chris, they got a point. I like that. You know, so Chris, I was gonna touch base. You know, I saw this promotion you had, and I actually shared it. You know, you're looking out for future sponsors, and you really, you advertised an opportunity for people that really gets them involved in the social media. Like, a lot of people ask me, well, how do I get the sponsors I get, and what do I do? Well, first of all, I do a lot of social networking. Obviously, you guys see my podcast. You see the scroll on top. I give a shout out as much as I possibly can. You know, whether this person gives me a T-shirt or they're giving me, you know, entry fees, it doesn't matter. You treat the one that gives you the least exactly the same as the one that gives you the most. So when I was reading through your sponsorship, it was very interesting, and I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted you to talk about it a little bit on the show, and what made you bring that up. Explain out what you're offering and what made you bring that up in the first place.
Well, and I'm hoping what we're doing is set an example for others to do the same, you know? And so what I'm hoping that will come out of this is basically people will naturally use their social media a little bit more to show others that follow them how much fun they're having jet skiing. You know, it's not only just about Pro WaterCraft and Pro WaterCraft this and use these sponsons and you have to use Pro WaterCraft. It really wasn't my total mission. Of course, I want people to buy my product and love it, but only if it works good. But the goal here in the reward program, so at different levels, you know, it goes 1 through 8 right now, and it's a new program, so we may evolve things.
Right.
But basically, it's an incentive program around your social media. So whether you're a racer or not a racer, it just talks about how much you enjoy and love jet skiing through your social media, right? And so what we want to do is we want you to connect to your friends, and then we want your friends to come and check out jet ski racing or whatever, any sort of jet skiing, and get it, right? It's fun. So come check it out. That's sort of like the whole MO around it. So I grew up in and race in an era when I turned in my application and my resume really how good I got as far as results.
Right.
Hopefully I would get more sponsorship, and that made a lot of sense back then. But now with this day and age and mobile devices, you know, it's not always about results for me. I want people that are truly into it, you know,
Right.
and so there might be a novice rider that has 18,000 followers,
right,
and he's probably going to get like a level 6 or 7 because he's got a ton of people follow him, and people click on his photos. Not just about followers, but you click on the photo. It's interaction. When people take that time to double tap the screen, they're actually sort of reading and checking things out. And I'm hoping that adds value to our sport, not just for watercraft.
It gets like I said about the show, it gets the people involved, whether they're racing or not. You know, I'd probably be on your level 8 because I got a lot of friends that don't race jet skis, but they're always clicking on my stuff, liking it, watching it. A lot of people tune into this show right now that don't even race jet skis. They just want to learn and know what's going on because they're interested, because it's something I like doing. So a lot of people, like when I go out racing, I always prep it up. You know, you've been on my face for a while. You've seen how I go. Everything gets exciting. I build up the momentum, and then boom, we're there. And then they hear me get on the phone, and you know, I do my live about Sport GP because I love Sport GP. I know all the racers in that class. I can get in the groove with it. I know what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and it gets the people that aren't jet ski racers involved in it. And that's what social media really works at. And that's why I try to tell a lot of people. So when I read that, and you were talking about that, I was like, dude, that's exactly what we need. That's the fastest way to grow and the fastest way to get the attention we need. It's not about just getting to buy the product. It's getting people to click on your website and check it out. And they're like, hey, I may not race, but I do have a super jet. Maybe I want something to handle a little better because when I go out and hang out with my friends, I look like a retard out there scooping around and falling. So maybe this will help me, you know? You never know what one picture can do for 20 other people and their 20 other people and their other 20 people. So, heck yeah.
I don't know about you, but I've seen some of the dumbest trends like take off viral over some social media stuff. Yes. And I stared at that, I'm like, oh my God, why can't we get a fraction of that? You know? So it's like, I think it's just common sense, you know, and I hope other manufacturers, other people give same incentives, because really for most of us riders, it's pretty easy to do. You got to stop and snap a picture and find the right moment, whatever, you know, but still it's at our fingertips like never before.
How many people take selfies? How many people take selfies 30 times a day? It's not that hard to say, click, there's a picture of my boat in the water. Click, there's a picture of my boat in a trailer. I mean, you see it. I take pictures of the skis sitting in my dining room, which is right behind me with the hood up. It's just natural. It's something that you're already doing it. Just take 2 more seconds and add a caption.
Yeah, totally. It's a great lifestyle. You know, it's like there's no better way to kind of relieve stress and like enjoy life because it is precious, you know?
Right.
And so there's the risk for reward in watercraft riding and racing is amazing compared to other sports.
Right.
So why not?
Exactly. Just like Jessica Waters said in the room, it's amazing what a good photo can do, you know? And you know Waters Edge Photography. She makes some sweet pictures, man. So you're right. You never know what a photo can really, truly do. So I had a couple questions for you. If you got a few more minutes, I know I've tied up your time. I hope I'm not killing your time. But there's some people in the room, they want to ask some couple questions. You know, we got Glenn Young, Mr. Smiles himself. He was wanting to know, he's like, hey, Chris, what did you think? People kind of made it. He wanted to know where, you know, you heard about Body Beach. They're going to close Body Beach. Where are they going to race or practice if that does happen? Do they have any other spots before World Finals that they're going to ride, or what's the scoop on that?
Well, the whole thing around Body Beach right now is it's on state-funded lands, right? So state trust lands, excuse me. And so basically, it's a little secured because it's really expensive land and it's really expensive to develop. Right. So we're kind of like in a little, let's call it a loophole, right?
Right.
So I think we'll be okay for the moment. But obviously we're on waterfront property with no insurance, you know, as the saying goes. Right. So I think there isn't anything to be extremely alarmed about it right now, but it is a concern of ours. In fact, I'm supposed to have a meeting with the mayor again this week about the future of watercraft and how, you know, us watercraft people from around the world add so much value to Lake Havasu because of the access, right? To the buoys, to the water, to the World Finals, to shops. You know, there's a lot of watercraft dynamic that's happened in this town. because of Body Beach. And the town gets that, right? But
Right.
it's putting the wheels in motion. And
For
so
money.
there was a grant that was happening years ago to build a permanent stadium. And so I don't think it's completely off the table, but obviously land and location's kind of important. And Body Beach offers a lot of like the perfect aspects of that. And I think a lot of why we haven't pursued another angle is because we're really taking the advantage of enjoying Body Beach for as long as we can.
Right. Well,
it being so raw, and perfect.
Well, because I know that there was a developer that actually, the developer got the AOK from the city. From what I was reading and whatnot, it was in your guys' not your paper, but it was in the clerk of courts, wherever it was. We got the information that a developer actually got approved for the start of funding to build condominiums there at Body Beach. Now, did something happen where they stopped them and they're still are in progression, or is it lawyers and this and that, or is it one of those situations where we truly don't know what side is what?
No, see, that was kind of like a misprint in the newspaper, and that went a little too far, I guess, as far as reach, as who read it,
Right.
what they were expecting out of that. So basically that condominium setup is supposed to be next to an aquatic center. So it's a lot right near Body Beach.
Gotcha.
For some reason, newspaper people totally mislabeled the land actually that was in question. So
Gotcha.
It's not actual Body Beach. The road or none of that is being affected, In fact, just recently we had a huge fire there, which burned out all the bums and cleaned out the brush. And we were able to kind of clean up the beach even more. So, but that hotel condominium, it's not a hotel, but it's like condominium or small little motel, if you will.
Right.
I'm hoping will be a positive aspect.
Right.
Obviously, they're going to hear a bunch of noisy jet skiers.
Right.
But who's gonna rent that? Is it gonna be jet skiers? Is it gonna be people from maybe that has a son that wants to learn how to jet ski and they see right out their father's condominium?
Right.
Who knows where that could turn into? But I don't think it's a bad thing. And like I said, it was mislabeled in the newspaper, and so
Right.
It's not on Body Beach. So as far as right now, like the land that we actually use is good. So come on down and ride.
So obviously, I remember announcing that. So then I got the wrong information and did the wrong homework. So I wasn't all my fault, guys. I read what was right. Someone misprinted it the wrong way, so you can't get mad at me.
That's right.
So another question was this: Kevin wanted to ask, he wanted you to describe the benefits of the pump stuffer that Pro WaterCraft produces. And I've seen that, and actually that was actually a good question because I was curious myself on that also.
Yeah, so this is not something that I actually made. It was the stuffing, the intake, which some people call it a pump stuffer.
Right.
Some people call it an intake stuffer, and I've been railed for calling it a pump stuffer. I kind of laugh, but who cares, right? But
Right.
Intake stuffer, which is in front of the impeller, above the intake crate. So this is basically going on the ceiling, like where the dry shaft comes out of the ski.
Right.
You can visualize that. So really what I'm doing is directing water right as it comes past the bolts of the front of the intake crate.
Right.
To the impeller as quickly as possible.
Right.
And so a lot of times you've seen like skis in the 90s especially, they kind of have like an S-shaped intake, and actually, you'd be surprised on how much handling characteristic you get out of the shape of the intake. So what I did is, and I started this with the 550 because it was super popular back in the day to
Right.
do this. And I'm like, I don't want to throw a bunch of Bondo in there and then, gel coat over it. It's like 4 or 5 hours of work. Let's make a piece. And
Fit it in
at the same time, I was working on this material, this hybrid flex composite. I call it HFC. But what I'm able to do with this material is I can put a hydrophobic coating in it, and water just sheets off of it, right?
Right.
So when you put this piece into most watercraft, you get from 2 to 3 miles an hour of increase. Not only that, it stabilizes the ski side to side because now the roof of that intake, like I talked about the handle, the roof of the intake is squarish now.
Right.
Right? So now the water is not rolling around like a spoon shape at the top of that intake. So side to side is better.
Right.
It does lift the back just a little bit where it helps the plane a little bit faster.
Right.
So with all that together, you get a better hookup and drive and stability. And for the price, it is the best bang for the buck you can do.
You know what? I've learned where, in the tunnel, we scuff it up. We'll actually fill the hole inside of it, and we'll scuff it to where when the water goes in there, it's not sticking to any surfaces. It's slicking through and creating a vortex to go into the pump, so the pump actually compresses it harder. So you've actually taken the design and actually made that work 100%. I like it. I've never seen it. That was a good question by Kevin. I've heard about it. I've seen some people using it, and I wanted to hear your inside scoop. So that was actually, I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks.
Yeah.
And so then one thing I was going to ask you too, and Gary Hopkins beat me to it in the chat room. Is my question was this: will we see you at all in any of the races possibly over here on the East Coast? Are you ever going to make a trip over here and hang out and check out some stuff, or are you pretty much stuck on the West Coast?
No, I'm not stuck on the West Coast. You know what I'm stuck to is pushing my business and the evolution of the sport. And so sometimes it allows me to travel, and sometimes I got to stay home and grind, And so
that's true.
I'm really hoping with the 2.0 that I'm going to be able to attend a little bit more races, and definitely want to come to Florida and some of the pro watercrafts and do these events with the ski. So I'm really hoping to get out there and kind of meet more people and shake hands, and because, like I said, people in the sport they're awesome.
Right.
Everyone is here for the right reason, because they love the sport.
Right.
So I look forward to those moments, and I hope we get to enjoy it this year with the new ski.
Well, if you ever do make it to Florida and you're at a race, you holler your 239 boy right here. I'll make sure to help you out with some good hospitality and help you out in the races. Well, Chris, dude, it's been an awesome conversation. I want to give you the mic if you have anything to say or holler at anybody on the web. You have free run. I want to go ahead and let you have the reign, buddy.
First and foremost, I got to thank the people that I work with, because none of the success you see coming out of me actually comes from my team, and then I got to thank my competitors because they push me, because I obviously want to be as better than them, and like any other rider, racer, or company you want to race against. So the motivation we get through each other, I think, is awesome and dynamic. But most of all, like this sport truly is something that I'm into, and I live my brand, and I hope people can see that. And whether they get something that works awesome or doesn't work awesome, they have to know that I'm only here to make the best products possible. So anytime I get feedback from someone,
right,
I definitely appreciate it, and I really appreciate all the support I've gotten from the riders and families and people that I've met through this industry. So I guess a big, huge thank you to everyone that's ever supported me in the past, or look forward to meeting them in the future as well, the new people.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, Chris, dude, it's been a pleasure. It's truly been an honor, man. I'm glad that you came on my show. I've been watching you on Facebook for a little while and in the sport for a long time. So it was an honor to be able to get you on my phone, talk to you on my show. We got to talk about some really fun, cool stuff. We had a great debate on some discussions that a lot of people wanted to hear. Some good questions in the chat room. So for me and the Cardone Race Corner, I want to say thank you for coming on my show. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It means a lot, and keep it up, because I think little aspects like what you're doing for the sport is good. People want this stuff. Obviously, your attendance has been awesome, so don't let anything slow you down, brother.
No, sir. No, sir. I'll keep doing it. You got my number. Stay in touch, brother. I'll be definitely looking forward to the new products you'll be pushing out. All right?
Sounds great.
Have
a good night.
You have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, guys. You heard it, one and only right here in Cardone's Race Corner. Pro Watercraft Racing was actually bringing out some really cool stuff. And you guys were all talking smack about the sport boats, and he actually said he might have one coming out in the next near future. So that would be very interesting to hear that come out. Obviously, he's got some new stuff coming out also too. So take a look at Pro Watercraft Racing. Check out Chris Hasget. A lot of you guys already know it. Like his page, share his page, follow it. There's going to be some awesome stuff coming out. Glenn Young, great question, man. As always, you always tune in. You come out with some cool stuff. Thanks for being there. Kev, Watercraft Network. Another good question. That was some good details right there. I want to give a huge shout. We got some stuff coming up that's gonna be. We got some good racing coming on. You guys have been doing awesome on my show, tuning in, tagging, sharing, following, staying tuned. We got a lot coming up. I can't wait. As soon as Pro Watercross gives me a tour dates, I will post them and I will blab about them every freaking show. All right, guys? I can't do nothing about it. You keep texting me. You keep blowing my phone up. I can't do nothing about it, bro. I'm not AJ's handler. You know what I'm saying? His last name's Handler, but I'm not his handler. I don't make the schedule. Everyone else has posted his schedules. He's locking in some deals. He's probably going to make it happen. We'll get it. We still got one more week before the end of the month. That's what he said. So we'll let it go. If you guys aren't familiar, man, give a shout out to Moto Option Clothing. Like them, share them. Awesome people. Check out MVP Productions. Also check out Jessica Waters Edge Photography. Awesome people. Great things to have. Sand-dockers, all you rec ride guys out there to have the runabouts, you guys need to get it. I showed it one time before. It's out of my reach. I don't want to go out of the camera and grab it. It's an awesome anchor for jet skis, for your runabouts, so you don't have to beat your ski. Go check it out. Awesome. Going on to next, I want to tell you, Chris Hasget had 24,000 followers. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of people for that group. He's building innovation and building cool stuff, and he keeps thinking outside the box. So that's the kind of stuff that we need in the sport. And he said it too. It's good to hear someone say the same thing I've been saying. We have the social network that's going to keep growing the sport. We need to make it happen. You know what I mean? So it's going to be awesome. So give you guys a heads up. I had a couple things on my mind. We're going to be going into our first race in March, which is 30 days away. It's going to be Lake Fairview, Orlando. I've already talked about first thing in the morning, Texas H2O. I'm going to do the Cardone Race Corner live. I'm going to have a special scene for you guys. I'm going to have a special thing going on. I'm going to have interviewing. We're going to have Kev is going to be right there with me. It's going to be awesome play-by-play action. You know me. It's never a dull moment with Cardone in the mix. So we're going to have Cardone's Race Corner will be in the tower watching the race. I'm going to have two cameras. The one that's going to be looking at my ugly mug, and the other one's going to be watching the water. We're going to be live, in your face, in your ears, yelling, screaming, having fun, so you need to bring your boats out there. If you're in Florida, you need to come out and do this. I'm going to leave that one at that. I had all kinds of stuff to talk about. You see it? I'm taking notes now, guys. I'm keeping it real. As it says, real talk, Hollywood. Anyways, guys, 50 deep in the room. We've been on the show for an hour and 10 minutes. All I got to say is, you guys rock. Thanks for showing up on my show. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for always talking to me. Next week, I'm going to have Dustin Matsuris on the phone, baby. Y'all wanted to hear some stand-ups? You wanted me to bring some new blood in? I'm bringing some new blood in, so you better get ready. Dustin Matsuris is going to be on my show next week. That's going to be one you're not going to want to miss. So, once again, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm glad to have you guys here. You guys make it happen. I appreciate it. You guys make everything happen for me. So your boy Cardone, I'm out of here, bro. See ya!